We're going to celebrate Jane Austen today. It's actually going to be her birthday on the 16th. So I'm going to start with a little overview of Jane Austen in the period she grew up in. So Jane Austen was born in 1775 and she died in 1817. She was part of the Regency period. That's when she wrote most of her novels. And during that time, George IV was ruling for his father because his father, George III, was mentally incapacitated and he was not able to rule. So George IV, George III's son, did not become king in his own right until 1820. So the period when he was ruling for his father was called Regency. And then he ruled for another 10 years. So George IV is known for remodeling Buckingham Palace, and he also helped rebuild Windsor Castle. But he was not a popular king, and he was not well liked because of his poor relationships with his own parents, who were well liked, and his wife, Caroline of Brunswick. He actually openly did not invite her to his own coronation. So he was also known for being irresponsible and selfish. But because of his lavish lifestyle, poverty increased in the UK, but he did inspire new fashions, such as women wearing low necklines, high waists, short sleeves, and dainty styles. There were also women wearing caps and poke bonnets, which you see often in Austen movies, and they had hand muffs. During this time, they also had the Napoleonic Wars. That is when the British beat Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. So Jane Austen was born in Hampshire, and that is one of the most southern areas of England. It is north of the Isle of Wight, which is the island just south of England, and it was one that Queen Victoria loved very much. Jane Austen was born in a village called Chawton, and this house is a house dedicated to her. That is where she lived for a large period of her life, and it's called Chawton House, and it educates people on Jane Austen today. It is still open. Another city that impacted Jane's life was Bath, and she lived there from 1801 to 1806. There's a museum about her here, and there was a festival each year in her honor. Her books that take place partly in Bath are Persuasion and Northanger Abbey. She has numerous novels. The most famous that were published in her lifetime were Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, and Emma. Northanger Abbey and Persuasion were not published until after Jane's death, and she had started Sanditon, but it was not finished. She would always say, published by a lady, and she had been writing since she was around 14. In her younger years, she wrote satire novels called The History of England and Love and Friendship. And her books were published by Thomas Egerton, who knew her brother Henry. She died in 1817. There are several possible causes of her death, including Addison's disease, Hodgkin's cancer, to possibly lupus. She complained of bile and rheumatism. She put down her pen in March of 1817, just a couple years before she passed away. She was brought to Winchester for treatment by her siblings, and she died in July of 1817. So her books circulated okay in her lifetime, but it was after her death that she became very popular. They have been circulating consistently since 1833, and she is now known and studied all over the world. There are several film and TV adaptations of her books, and her books have been translated into numerous languages and loved all around the world. We still enjoy reading her books and watching her movies today.